So what is the meaning of this session? Okay. First of all, the complete software developer journey. Okay. Not only developer, I wanted to change the name. It can be become complete software IT person journey. Okay. So in this, we will learn about once you start with your career, once you get your dream job, it is after placement. Okay. It is not how to get the job. It is after the placement. So whenever you get your dream job, you are at your first day in your company. Now what next? Okay. So for that problem, I have specially designed this syllabus. So that way, whenever you will start your career with one of the IT company and you do not know how to survive, what are all processes are involved, what are all things you need to consider before starting with your job. Okay. So very first time, so this syllabus is not directly from the day one. It is prior to that. Let's assume before getting your job, let's assume 15 days back. Okay. So just assume that you will get your dream job after 15 days from now. Okay. So from that day onwards, we have designed this syllabus. So very first time, let's assume you are doing one of the course that is .NET development or Java development, software testing, DevOps, or any other language, whatever you want to prefer. And you have completed with all the knowledge, gaining all the knowledge for that field. Okay. Now you are looking for a job change. Okay. Or you are looking for your job as per your whatever understanding or learning you have completed so far from any of the institute, no issues. Very first thing, you have to submit your resume to the Naukri portal, LinkedIn portal, or any other portal. Or you can also, wherever you are doing your uh, this course, okay, that institute will also provide you the placement, or that institute will also provide you the interview calls. Okay. So wherever you want to get the interview calls, very first thing, HR and other team members will ask you that share me your resume. Okay. So you will have to prepare your resume in such a format, it should be very catchy. Okay. Whenever HR will see your resume, within 3 to 4 seconds, he will judge your profile, whether you are compatible or fit to their whatever vacancies they are having, whether you are fit to that process or not, that they will judge within 3 to 4 seconds. Why? Because they have to go through lots of resume, not only yours. Okay. So whatever resume you will prepare for get your dream job, make sure to mention the proper technologies, proper headings, and whatever profile job description they are having, your resume should be aligned to that. So within 3 to 4 seconds, HR will judge and will move on to the next resume. So that's why whatever resume you will do or write, make sure that should be eye catchy, as well as your key key skills should be in a bold format, very first line. And whenever HR will read few lines of your resume, then that should be they should be shortlist your resume as soon as they see it. Okay. So how to write the resume, what are all things need to be considered, what are things not to be considered, all these things we'll learn. Okay. So that will be very first topic. Next thing, you will have to attend the technical interview. Okay. So while attending that, what are all things you need to do, what are all things you need to consider. Okay. What will be the IMP questions, what to do, what to not do during the interview, that will be your second thing. Okay. So that we will definitely learn. I'll let you know all the things, pros and cons. Okay. Next thing is behavioral interview. So behavioral interview means sometimes you will get the HR interview, which requires some soft skill. Okay. Soft skill, cultural knowledge and fit, whether you will be fit to their organization, culture, team members, or we can say manager around. They will see whether you are comfortable to work within a team. You have all the knowledge which you require to work within a team. Okay. So we can call it as a managerial round or HR round. So both the round basically we can call it as a behavioral interview. So it is not only technical, but behavioral knowledge is also most important to get the job. Okay. So these all 3 points, and one more point is there, offer and negotiation. So that mostly happen on the telephonic call with your HR, or sometimes they will schedule a meeting through Google Meet or Microsoft Teams. So in that you just have to discuss about what will be the salary, benefits and other expectations from your job, and how to negotiate that part, how to get the like salary as per your expectation. Okay, because HRs are very smart. They will always try to hire you with less salary than their budget. So definitely we will learn some skill how to convince them. So that way the whatever situation will be win-win situation. HR should also get convinced and you should also get the expected salary. Okay, that also we will learn. So this is very first thing we need to learn. As I mentioned, this course is not from the scratch. Not from the scratch means someone wanted to do the career in IT company from today. This is not for him because it is something for who has already completed their courses but not aware about how to survive job. Okay, if you see the heading of this course, it is for how to survive job. Okay, I just wanted to minimize the efforts to help candidates after the placement. So this course is specially designed for those candidates. Okay, if you want to learn the IT development from the scratch, we will design some other courses. Okay, but this is mainly for those who has already got the job but not able to survive daily basis. They are facing so many challenges and they are looking for some friends or some colleagues in the office who will help them. So for such candidates, this will be definitely a game changer, and they will definitely came to know all the processes which IT company has, all the terms which IT company has, and all the things you need to follow daily basis to survive your job. Okay, so that's why the very first step of this course is to write the resume, do the technical interview, how to attend that, what are all things need to consider, what is soft skill, and how we can basically attain the behavioral interviews as well. Mostly those will be scenario based questions, so they will judge you, your knowledge, your soft skill, your body language, all these things they will judge, and accordingly they will offer you. While offering, how to negotiate on that part, everything we'll discuss in this course. Next thing is before starting the career with your IT company, let's talk about what are all things or what are all fields we are having in the IT company. First of all, development, right? So in the development field, you will have some backend, front end, database, API. You might heard about all this. Okay. What is backend? What is front end? These are the terms. Okay. If someone talking about backend, so you should not act like I don't know this term. What is backend? What is front end? I know UI, I know API, but I don't know backend and front end. Okay. So such kind of things you should be aware. These terms you should be aware. So that way, wherever you will do and go and do the job, they will not feel that you are new to this term. Okay. Uh, can you hear me actually?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay then. Thank you. Okay. So we were discussing about backend languages, front-end languages, databases. Quickly, I will discuss. Okay. We are going to discuss in detail whenever we start our all the sessions. So backend languages means those languages which we will use in order to create the server side code. Okay. Write or implement the server side code. What is server? So there are two things, server and client. Server means something where you have hosted your project. Client is something which is using that project. Okay, application. So backend involves languages like Python, Java, .NET, Node.js. So by using these languages, you can create the web APIs. So web APIs are basically middle layer between your front-end application and your database or some business logic which you have written in the backend. And that will be the communication point where all your client applications can communicate. Client application can be written in various different languages like Android, React, Angular, Vue.js, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, Bootstrap. So these are the front-end languages where you can create the client applications. So client application mainly involve install in your mobile or desktop, or you can access them through with the help of browser. Okay. So browser, whatever you will see in the browser is one of the client. Okay. Client means who is going to access the server. Okay. So each computer has its own browser, and with the help of that browser, you can access your website. Whatever you will see on your eyes on the browser, that is your front end application. And whenever you will try to do some operations through that website, it will make a call to the server, and then you can basically interact with your server. Uh, don't start any video, please. Okay. Next thing is database. So what is database? Database is something where you can store your data permanently. Okay. To take an example, facebook.com. So let's suppose you have posted some new uh, images or some photos or any of the post on the Facebook. You can see that today, tomorrow, as well as anytime in future. Okay. As long as it is not yet deleted. Okay. So you can see whatever post you have made on the Facebook uh, today also, tomorrow also, and anytime in future, because that is stored in the database permanently, in the Facebook database permanently. Okay. So database you can use when you want to store the data into the data somewhere on the disk on the server permanently. So that way, whenever you will log in, then you can see the data which is stored by you. Okay. So that is your databases. So in order to save the data on the permanent basis, you can use MS SQL, which is Microsoft SQL, MySQL, which is open source, NoSQL databases like MongoDB, DynamoDB, where you do not have to store the data in a form of relational format. Relational means tabular format, which is combination of columns and rows, whereas you can store the data in a form of JSON document. Okay, so MongoDB is one of the schema-less database where you can store the data in a JSON documents. JSON means you can have any kind of attributes, nested elements, so you don't have to define the schema before storing the data to the database table. Okay, that is MongoDB. That is the beauty of that database. So same DynamoDB, also NoSQL databases, and you can use MySQL, Postgres. Postgres is one of the open source database in relational format that also you can use. Okay, so these are the databases. I'm just giving the high level knowledge. We'll discuss in detail also. Next thing is DevOps tools. So DevOps tool you can basically use in order to create the environment for running your production applications. So it involves like Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins. So these are basically DevOps tools you can use in order to create the environment for your running production application on the cloud. Okay. Also, some students might want to learn the cloud technologies like AWS, Azure, GCP. So each cloud technology has its own services like S3 bucket, CloudWatch, uh, VPC peering, IAM policies. So all these things you will require while working with the cloud platform, and that is also one of the profile in the IT industry. So if someone want to go in the AWS, then this course will also help them how to survive their job in a cloud profile. Okay. Next thing is version control. So version control we basically require in order to keep a track of your project development activities. For example, you are working with one of the project, and not only you but other team members also working on a same source code. So you will require one of the version control like Git, GitLab, Bitbucket, and you also require, for example, Git, GitLab, Bitbucket, GitHub. So these are the cloud-based version control providers who will help you to keep your source code on the cloud in one of the account, and then you can do the check-in and check-out with the help of Git tool or SVN tool that will help you to push the code to the cloud, and that will help you to pull the code from the cloud. For example, I am working as a developer. I have created the login page, and then there is one more colleague who wanted to create the registration page. So what I will do, I will complete my changes and push the changes to one of the cloud, and then other team member will take the pull. So he will get my login page as well, and he can continue with the registration page on the same project. So this is what we require in order to share your code changes to other team members within your team. So that is what version control is. We will discuss that in detail. Don't worry about that. Okay, if you don't know, we will learn it from the scratch because it is one of the thing you will require while working with your IT job. Okay, let's move on. Next one is development workflow. So whenever you will start your journey with your IT company, then daily basis you will have to work. Okay, how to work, who will assign the task, what are all things you need to know before starting your work. First thing is version control we just discussed about, which is Git flow, trunk based development. So basically, as we just quickly discussed that version control that you will require in order to keep a track of your changes and share your code with other team members within your team, and that way you can basically uh, work on the same project within a team. Okay, so Git is one of the tool which will help you to do the check-in, check-out. What is check-in, check-out? What is branching strategies? All these things we will learn. And then next thing is Bitbucket, GitHub, GitLab. These are the providers where you can keep your source code in one of the repository, and that repository you will have to clone on your local system, continue with your development, push your code, other team member can pull the changes. Okay, also what is pull request, how to review, all these things we will discuss, and that is something you should know which you might not aware about, because whenever you will uh, join any of the course, like for example Java development, .NET development, front end development, in that code mostly uh, they will not teach you how to do the check-in and check-out. So that is the possibility. If you don't know, we'll discuss that in this session. Next thing is CI/CD pipeline. What is CI/CD? So CI/CD is one of the pipeline which you will require in order to do the continuous deployment once you're done with your changes. Okay. So CI means continuous integration and CD means continuous deployment. Okay. So this is basically automated pipeline. Whenever you will complete with your changes and you push the changes to the cloud or to your repository, then it will trigger one of the webhook URL of your Jenkins server, and that will help you to deploy your code on the dev environment. So there are three different environments usually most of the company has. One is dev environment, QA environment, and UAT or production environment. Okay. So whenever you will done with your changes and you merge the changes to the development branch, it will automatically deploy to the dev environment. Why? So developers should be able to validate their changes before assigning those changes to the QA members. So there is one more process, like in the agile methodology. Okay. And if you're working with Jira tool, then you will get to assign one of the user story. What is user story? I will explain. Okay. So that user story is basically the task which you have to complete within your whatever days or current sprint. What is sprint? We'll discuss that. So within that sprint, you will get to assign couple of tasks. For those tasks, we will call it as a user stories. Okay. Each user story will have its own description and acceptance criteria. What is description? Description is all about your requirements, and acceptance criteria is all about what you need to do or you need to validate upon completion of your current task. Okay, that is your acceptance criteria. So once you're done with that, you will have to check in your changes to the repo in your current branch. And once you check in with those changes, you will have to create the pull request so other team members can review your code. Okay. Once team member review your code and he give you the approval, that will get merged to the develop branch and get deployed to the dev environment. There you will have to validate all the changes one more time before assigning it to the testers or QA members. So the job of QA members is to validate your changes as per the acceptance criteria mentioned in your user story. Okay. So uh, that is something you will have to deploy on the QA environment. So as I mentioned, there will be three different environments. One is dev, QA, UAT, okay, or production. So dev environment is something where developer will validate their changes before assigning it to the QA. QA environment is something where QA will actually do the testing on your user story and will come to the conclusion that whether it is working as expected or not. If it is not working, they will reopen your story. Okay. If it is working fine, then they will simply close the story and you can start working on the next story from your pipeline. Pipeline means whatever is the story assigned to you for the current Scrum board. Okay. Now let's talk about task management. So task management means we just quickly discuss on that, but again I will reiterate quickly. So there is one Jira portal. What is Jira portal? So Jira portal is one of the service provider from the Atlassian's company. So that will help you to manage your user stories, sprint, scrum board, bugs, and the features and epics. So these are the terms. Okay, even though you have very good knowledge about the development and you are not aware about all these terms, so 90% company are following the agile methodology, and you should be aware about all these terms because agile methodology is something 90% IT companies are currently using. Before that, we were using waterfall model. That is something different. Very rare companies are using that. So as I would suggest you should know about all the terms about agile methodology. Okay. So Jira portal will help you to manage your daily tasks. Simple language. Okay. We will discuss about each and every term in detail whenever we start the sessions. But let's assume what is Jira portal? Jira portal will help you to manage your daily task. Okay. So what is daily task? What is sprint? So sprint is usually a 15 days of sprint. Okay. Usually, I mean, most of the company has 15 days, but it is depends upon your company. Your company might have only 10 days or 1 week or 4 weeks, depends. But usually it will be a 15 days, 2 weeks. So within a 2 weeks, there will be a daily scrum call. Okay. Let me check if that is there in the syllabus next. No, right? Yes, we have that, but quickly we will discuss. So daily scrum call means you will have to discuss about what you did yesterday, what you are going to do today, and what is there any blocker? Blocker means are you stuck somewhere while working on your task? Are you stuck somewhere? Okay, so you will have to bring up that in your daily scrum call. So that way other team members from your team can understand, oh, he's really stuck somewhere. We have to help him so that way he can also complete his work within the given deadline. Okay, so that is something you will have to discuss in your stand-up meetings. Scrum call means stand-up meetings. It is hardly 20 minutes or 30 minutes of meeting where you will have to speak only uh, 5 minutes or 2 minutes. You just have to give the update. Okay. And if someone want to discuss whatever update you given, if you want to discuss some in detail on that part, then he will suggest to meet you again after the scrum. So that happens. For example, you got a task to create the login page, and you are going to give the update like, okay, so yesterday I worked on login page functionality, and for that I have completed the UI portion like username password box as well as submit and cancel button. Now today I'm going to work on creating the web API, which will validate the username and password as server side, and then will redirect user to the dashboard if it is valid, otherwise show the invalid password message. So this is your message. This is your update for today, right? So what I cover here, I cover that what I did yesterday, what I'm going to do today. And while doing that, I will also mention I have a blocker that as I do not have a good knowledge about database, I need someone who can provide me uh, the database store procedure. Okay. S- Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
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 sir.
yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, so this is how you can give your daily updates. So in my update, I have mentioned what I did yesterday. I completed the UI portion of the login form. What I'm going to do today, that is, I'm going to create the web API, which will help you to validate the username and password at the server side. And there is a blocker that I'm not familiar with the database, so someone from the database team need to I require in order to create the store procedure, so that way I can complete my backend work. So this is how you should give your daily update. Okay. Now let's assume someone want to see your UI work. Okay. From there will be a scrum master. So scrum master who usually conduct the scrum calls. Okay. So he will keep a track of your changes. Let's say you today you share this update and tomorrow you are going to share the same update. So you will think that no one will keep eye on me, no one will keep track of my status. No, not like that. Okay, there is a scrum master who is mainly conduct the meetings, and he will keep a track of your each and every status daily basis. So that way, whatever status you are going to do, you are going to share today, you will have to show some progress tomorrow. Otherwise, he will catch you, and he can immediately told you that uh, he will say that let's meet after this call and I want to see your work. He or your manager can say like this. So whatever status you are going to share in the meeting, make sure till that point in time you have completed your work. Otherwise it will be a big problem for you. Okay, we can't uh, make the false promises. Okay, so we'll discuss that in detail, don't worry. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now let's assume you got your job. Okay, so what will be the things? So very first day, they will arrange the onboarding process for you. Okay, what is onboarding process? Onboarding process means in order to get the understanding about their company, their culture, their compliance management, their policies, their securities, processes, and project knowledge. They will set up a call. We will call it as an onboarding process. It will also involves the documentation, verification, all these things in this process. Okay, they will have a set of instruction, those you need to follow. They will give the understanding about the entire company, team members, and the process they are usually following daily basis. Same thing you will have to do. So that way you should be able to fit in their process. And daily basis you also need to follow the same. So whatever guidelines they will have, they will explain you in the onboarding process. Okay. So if someone says that okay, you will have the onboarding process, don't panic. Okay, it is something to gain the knowledge about their company. Okay, so you should go through that. Next thing is code based understanding. We can call it as a knowledge transfer as well. So whenever you will join the new company, basically that company, uh, whatever team members you will have into your team, where whatever project they will assign to you, that project will have couple of team members, and from that team one of the team member will basically explain you about the project structure, project functional requirement, as well as technical things. So that way you should gain the understanding of that before starting the development. So that is your knowledge transfer. We will call it as a code based understanding. Okay. And whatever documentation they will have on their knowledge base, on their wiki portal, they will basically provide you some links. So for few days, 5-10 days, they will just ask you to do all these things, complete your onboarding process, complete your training, and understand their code base, clone the repositories, go through the code, debug that, try to understand the end-to-end flow, and go through the documentation whatever they have maintained so far on their Confluence portal or wiki portal or knowledge base. Okay. Now, Agile or Scrum code. Agile is one of the methodology which we can follow in order to keep a track of your changes and project tracking. So we already discussed that what is Scrum call. Scrum call is daily basis stand-up meeting, which is basically help you to keep a track of your daily changes, help others to keep a track of your current task daily basis, and you will have to just share what you did yesterday, what you are going to do today. Is there any blocker? If yes, then other team members will help you to resolve that blocker, so that way you can complete your task within the given deadline. In the agile methodology, there will be another meeting, call it as a sprint planning meeting. Okay, so sprint planning meeting is one of the meeting which will help you to discuss about the user stories which you are going to work on the current sprint or next sprint. Okay, this meeting usually happens uh, 2 days before starting your sprint. Okay, so as I mentioned, there will be a sprint. What is sprint? Sprint means 15 days of activity. For next 15 days, what you are going to work, we will call it as a sprint. Okay, before 2 days of starting your new sprint, there will be a sprint planning meeting. In that meeting, all the team members will join along with the scrum master, sometimes the technical architect of your company, and they will discuss about the user stories. So let's assume in your team you are around 9 to 10 team members, and out of them one is scrum master, one is architect, three of QA members, and others are developer. Developer involves front end developer as well as back end developer. Now they will decide, let's assume 10 user stories they want to complete. So in the sprint planning meeting, what is user story? User story means one task. Okay, login form. For example, create a login form with front end and back end functionality. That is one user story. Create a registration form with front end and back end with database, everything. That is another user story. So such kind of 10 user story, they might plan for the current sprint as per the capacity they will have. And 10 is just a tentative figure. Okay, it is just for understanding purpose. So as per their capacity, they will plan for number of user stories, and they will explain you. They will open user story number one, create a login form. Okay, so while creating the form, what are all things you need to consider? They might provide you some mockups. Mockups means there is a UI UX profile in the software industry. Those members will basically create the UI in a Photoshop or Figma tool and will provide you the images. We will call it as a mockup. And by looking at those images, front-end developer has to design the same thing in the web UI or front-end application, Angular, React, Vue.js. Okay, and basically they will create a user story for the same. Create the login form as per the mockups provided, and They will explain each and everything. What will be the color codes? What will be how UI should look like? What are all animation effect you will have to provide there in the login form. Okay. And then if there is another story or there is some related task to create the web API, then what should be the endpoint? Then what should be the table names, column names, everything they will explain in the user story. And at the last of that user story, they will mention the acceptance criteria. What is acceptance criteria? So acceptance criteria means once you're done with your user story, make sure whatever points we have mentioned added in the acceptance criteria, those are working as expected. So acceptance criteria is nothing but the expected output or the points you should validate before moving your user story to the test ready state. Test ready means for moving it to the validation purpose to the QA. Okay. So before moving it to the test ready state, make sure whatever points we have mentioned in the acceptance criteria are fulfilled correctly and working as expected. Okay. So this is what your sprint planning meeting is. So in this meeting, you can discuss about any clarification you require on the requirements. Okay. In the user story, there will be each user story basically you will have the description and acceptance criteria. So there is a chances that you might not understand the requirement. Okay, there is very high chances whatever they are saying, you might not understand it fully. Okay, so you can basically raise your hand in that meeting. Okay, and you can tell them, sir, I'm not able to understand. Can you please repeat, or can you please give me some more understanding? Can you please elaborate that point? Okay, so that way other team members will also get to know that okay, he is listening carefully, he is really trying to understand, but still he is not. So they will definitely explain you again. There is no problem in that. So never hesitate about asking the question in meeting, because communication is the key in the IT industry. So it is not something यार मुझे इंग्लिश नहीं आता, so how I can discuss, वो क्या बोलेंगे कि यार इसको इतनी सिंपल चीज भी नहीं पता. It is not like that. It is of open discussion where each and every team member can discuss with each other, can ask the question, can answer the question. Okay, so that is what sprint planning meeting is. Next meeting is poker planning meeting. So poker meeting means whatever user stories you just groom means sometimes sprint planning meeting also called as sprint grooming meeting. Okay, and grooming means each user story they will just explain. You will have to understand the requirement. Once you're done and gain the understanding about all the user stories functionally as well as technically, then this time you can estimate the efforts. Okay, so poker planning meeting is all about estimating the efforts for your user story. Now you will say अभी ये estimation क्यों करना है, एक बार तो हमें understanding आ गया, so we'll work on that, no issues. But why we need to give the estimation is, let's assume you got the understanding about the login form user story. Now you have to provide the deadline. How many days you will require to complete this user story. According to that, they will decide whether to provide you multiple user stories or only one user story as per the complexity. Because each sprint has 2 weeks, as I mentioned, 15 days of sprint, 2 weeks. Within the 2 weeks, how many user stories you can complete. So accordingly, they will assign that user story to the respective developer. So login form, let's assume require 5 days. 5 days for front end, 5 days for back end, 2 days for database. Just hypothetical. Okay. So you will require around 2 weeks and 2 days, and your sprint is only 2 weeks. Means you will require 2 days extra. So they will think about to not assign multiple user stories to you, as your current user story itself is a big fish. So in that case, they will only assign one story, and if required, will create a part two story of the same user story once your sprint is completed. So they will only take the follow-up daily basis, how much work you have completed for your current user story, and accordingly whatever work is remaining, they will create a part 2 user story. There is a rule, we should not move the current user story to the next sprint. Whatever work you have completed, keep it that in the current user story, current sprint only, and whatever remaining work, they will create a part 2 story. It depends on the efforts. But you will think that चलो हम ऐसा बोल सकते हैं उनको अगर नहीं पता कि भाई कितना वर्क में कितना कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी है, so we can tell भाई इसको एक महीना लगने वाला है. No, it is not like that. Every team member is a technical person. Whoever is going to assign the work, he is more knowledgeable than you. He is that position means he has already did the development. Now he is managing the peoples. Okay, so in that case, whatever whatever complexity or story pointing you are going to assign, that will be a mutual understanding. Means in the poker planning meeting, each team member has to provide the story pointing like Fibonacci series. Okay, 0 1, then 0 1 plus 0 plus 1 1, 1 plus 1 2, 2 plus 1 3, plus 2 5 8 13 21. Okay, so this is your Fibonacci series. So Fibonacci series, they will basically use in order to provide the story pointing to understand the complexity involved in your current user story. And that story pointing, according to that story pointing, they will decide how many number of days that story will require. It is not something आपने बोल दिया कि एक महीना लगने वाला है. No, other team members will only mention okay इसको तो 2 दिन लगेंगे. एक टीम मेंबर बोल सकता है कि इसको 5 days लगेंगे. दूसरा बोल सकता है कि इसको 5 + 2 लगेंगे क्योंकि टेस्टिंग भी तो करना है, फ्रंट एंड भी है, बैक एंड भी है, डेटाबेस भी है. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू द वर्क इन्वॉल्व, according to the developer's knowledge and mutual understanding, they will come to the point where everyone will agree whatever story pointing we have given. So all these things we need to discuss within poker planning meeting. So this thing you will only came across when you start your job with the IT industry. यही तो नहीं आता है. Okay, you will be a very good developer as per your knowledge, as per your syllabus completed in your IT courses, but they will not teach how to give the estimations for user stories. Okay, so this thing you need to think about. We'll discuss that here. Next thing is testing. Now what is testing? You already know that. So whatever work developers will complete, tester has to validate that. But before assigning your work to the testers, there is one more thing, that is unit testing, integration testing, and TDD. Okay, test driven development. So these three things. Unit test means Unit test means whatever work or feature you have implemented, whether it is working as expected or not, that portion you will have to validate. We will call it as a unit test case. You also need to write some program in order to validate your current feature, that you can do at API side with the help of XUnit framework. We can do at the UI side with the help of Jasmine or Karma framework. Okay. So that is for the developer. So even though this topic is called as testing, it is not actually testing. It is something developer has to do. Tester will do the testing later. Okay, we'll discuss that next. Now, while working with your IT industry, there are different things: work environment, work culture. Okay, the way of working. What are all things you will need to face daily basis? How to maintain work-life balance? All these things. So let's quickly discuss about. There are three types of work culture. One is remote, hybrid, and work from office. Remote means you can work from your home. Remote is nothing but your work from home. So you will have to set up the office, small office or workplace at your home. Like you should have very good internet connectivity. Number one, you should have the inverter, power backup, number two, and you should have the place where no one will disturb, there is no background noise, and web camera with proper headphones and the laptop with whatever configuration we require. Okay. So all these things you should have, then only company or any organization will permit you to do the work from home. Okay. Hybrid model means you will have to go to the office for 2 or 3 days within a week, and rest of the days you can do the work from home if you have this setup which we just discussed. Okay. And work from office, you all know, daily basis we have to travel, go to the office, follow the timings, come back. Okay. So that is your work from office. While working with your team, if you are doing work from home, then there will be some communication tools. Okay. Communication tools, why it is required? Because what you are doing at your home, no one knows. Okay. Either you are working or not, what status, how to communicate. We can't every time call everybody, right? Over the phone or WhatsApp channel. So to keep the things confidential, you will get the official email ID, and that email ID basically you will have to use to create the account on your Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Outlook, Slack, and Zoom and Skype, all these communication channels. So these tools basically mostly Microsoft Teams. Okay, 90% companies are using this. Not 90, but 60 plus. And there is another tool that is Slack. Slack is also most of the companies are using. In my view, Slack is more okay. Leave it. But there is a tool, Microsoft Teams. So that tool is basically help to collaborate with your other team members, share your updates, do the calls, share the screen, give the access to your screen, everything. Okay. So that tool will help you to communicate with other team members, join the meetings, okay, everything to collaborate with other team members. So you will have to use the Microsoft Teams. I will also give some overview of Microsoft Teams, how to use that. So that way you can basically familiar with that before joining your dream job. And Slack is also one of the tool that is also the alternative to use of Microsoft Teams. Slack is internally follows to Zoom for doing the scheduling the meetings and all. So you can integrate your Zoom plugin in the Slack tool. So that way you can share the screen, have a call with other team members, give the access control to other team members, all these things. Okay. Slack also has its own uh, communication medium, but we can integrate Zoom. Mostly companies are integrating Zoom inside the Slack channel, Slack tool itself. And Teams does not require any other external tools. Team itself is a very big tool. It handles everything. So Microsoft Teams is most widely used tool for the communication thing in the IT industry. Next thing is work-life balance. While working with the IT industry, how to maintain your working hours and family time, all these things we'll discuss. Okay. Okay. There is one more thing that while working with the IT industry, now let's assume you are very good to complete your daily task. You are very good to do the communication with other team members, and you are surviving your job very well. But what about growth? Because let's assume you started your career with 6 LPA. You can't work with the same organization within the same package years and years, right? So in order to increase your package, in order to do the good appraisals, increase your position, promotion, what are all things you need to consider? What are all things you need to focus on daily basis? So that way your manager can basically be happy about your work, and he will convey the same thing to the higher management, and accordingly they will increase your package, or they will give you a proper hike on your current package. So that thing also we will discuss in this course. While working with any of the IT company, you need to follow their policies. regarding the security, data, and compliance. So we should not disclose any of the private information, any of the code related things to outside of your company members. So that way there will be no compliance issue, no security issue, no any other issues. Okay. So always be honest with your company. Don't share anything outside of your working team members. So that way they will also trust you and provide you the work from home. We'll discuss that. What you need to face on your first day. Okay. What will be the onboarding process? What are all things you need to consider while doing the onboarding process? Mostly, whenever you will join any of the organization, there is a buddy system. What is buddy system? So they will assign you one team member, and that the job of that team member is to get you familiar with their team. Whatever questions, जैसे कि हम किसी कॉलेज में एडमिशन लेते, ओके, you will find one of the good friend, so maybe senior member who everything knows about the college, right? And he will explain you what to do, what to not do, right? So same thing in your IT companies as well. Whenever you will switch your job or whenever you will join the new job, you will have one buddy. Buddy means he is not your manager and he is not your junior. Okay, it is just a colleague who will help you to get the understanding about the company culture, working process, and anything you want to know, like how to take leaves, when to take leaves, what are all leaves, and how to work, what are all things we need to set up to your machine before starting the work and all. So all these things you will get the understanding from your body if your company follow that system. Otherwise, during the onboarding process, they will provide you proper uh, training material like pre-recorded sessions, KT sessions. You will have to get understanding at your own, and you will have to report to your manager that I have completed these many things today. I'm going to complete these many things tomorrow. And they will give you the proper 15-20 days of training where you will be get familiar with their company and coding standard at your own by watching the videos and whatever documentation they have provided. So it is also something else you need to follow if your company does not have a buddy system. Just make your buddy your own. If there is no system, just try to contact with other team members, get the understanding. No one will deny you. Okay, everyone will definitely helpful because IT culture is like you will have to help each and every team member. Okay, so you will definitely get the help. Don't worry about that. Okay, while सिलेक्टिंग द कंपनी, ओके, ऐसा नहीं कि भाई कॉल ही नहीं मार्केट में एकदम से कॉल आ गया अभी मुझे जॉब चाहिए, नो. Whenever you will go for the interview for any of the company, you will have to consider couple of things. First one, what is the job role and what you are looking for. Okay, so अगर आपको जॉब करना है फुल फ्रंट एंड डेवलपमेंट में एंगुलर में, okay, and job role is for full stack, and they given you the work for the database side or API side, you will not perform well because you do not have expertise in that area. So why you are going for the interview? Number one. Number two is like company culture. Go for the Glassdoor review. Yeah, Glassdoor reviews, Google reviews. Try to become a friend on the linking. Do the connections with the team members of that company. Get the understanding and then schedule the interviews. And once you crack that, you will get the same. Okay. But if you are not clear about company culture and whether it will fulfill your all the expectations or not, don't go for it. No issues. Okay. There is a some like some companies are doing the cost cutting, some companies having the laid off. Okay, whether they are paying on time or not. All these things you need to consider before joining any of the company. And also some companies are having let's say there are startup companies, they might be having some over demand that you have to work within 9 hour plus some additional work because we do not have some other employee or some other team members who will complete this task as deadlines are very tight and all. So if you want to learn new things, definitely go for it, no issues. If you want to work under pressure, if you want to train yourself to work under pressure, go for it. But depends, like try to select such company who will maintain the work life balance. So you need to basically thoroughly research the company, whatever technology stack and the team culture before accepting the interview invitation. Understand whatever work environment that company has. Okay. You should have the proper communication tools, expectation, and whatever opportunities, growth, other team members from that company, what they have achieved so far within last 2 3 years. Just go do all this research and then decide what you want to do. So whatever previous slides we discussed, if you know all that processes, if you know all those points, you can choose your company. Company don't have to choose you. Okay. So I think I'm done with pretty much everything about the syllabus for this session or for this course. Let's have a discussion about question answer. Let me stop the recording.